I hope that I can always say there's no deal more important than the relationship that follows. And that's the kind of way you have to look at this kind of business. It's very unique in that the talent that we are fortunate to represent that have a very important interest to the public and hopes provide brand awareness or brand recognition to a major corporation. But when all said and done, when you're asking for more money than the CEOs and the various executives in those companies make each year, it's a very sensitive issue, and you've got to be right on, and you've got to be understanding, and hopefully we've done a good job of that. Having as much information as you can when you walk through a door asking for somebody to pay 7-8 figures at a time for a logo on a headwear or building a business relationship for a startup company, you've got to understand the purposes. And hopefully we've done that throughout time. And that goes back to coaching, always trying to help a young player see the vision that you had for the opportunities ahead of them, helping them figure out how to be the best they can be. I always define a coach as the person who always will help you be better than you think you are. And I take that and transition it into business, where if we can show somebody how the values can come back and how we can serve those relationships to be more valuable, usually it answers its own question. How do we do it and when do we get started? The real key, and I think that's when you look at a real talent in our type of business, where you see guys that have had endorsements that come and go. Obviously, it wasn't a marriage, and it wasn't meant for that purpose in mind by the company or for the talent that you represent. In the case of a Phil Mickelson, he has been with most every one of his companies through his career. The only times that it has changed is when the entire company changed. I give an example of Barclays Capital. The global chairman is now on our board of directors for Mickelson Foundation. It is a fully funded charity organization. But when he left the banking system, Barclays changed its whole vision and purpose in sports marketing completely. And frankly, today they've left sports marketing completely in the globe. So when you have something like that happen catastrophically, it's going to be a change. But otherwise, it's what you do for each other during the time that you're together that really continues that relationship. And I'm proud to say most of our guys that we put into relationships maintain those, and that's a very critical mass. Phil Mickelson played in 47 different major championships. In 47 tries, he never did win a major championship. He won his first one in 2004, and his endorsement value climbed 300% in all his renewals that came up for extension that year. I'm right now in the middle of something for Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm's 26 years old and become the number one player very quickly, but he's number two constantly behind Dustin Johnson today. But the reality here is his endorsements has changed 400% in the time that he turned pro, with the background that he had, which was really not to be an American endorser at the time. He was from Spain. He was an unknown commodity in a lot of circles, but how quickly that's changed in just a 4-year span. But I knew from day one, being with Phil for the 4 years at college and winning a PGA Tour event in his sophomore year and seeing how he went about things, this was going to be a very special individual. And when he came to me after we interviewed all the agencies in June of that year that he was turning pro, he and his family called me in for dinner one day and said, "Coach, we like this about this company and this about this company, but we want you to manage Phil's business." Of course, I was flattered, but I knew nothing seriously about being a sports agent. I just knew that I didn't like a lot of things about him. And I declined that. And that was June. And in the meantime, he had already planned a trip with his dad and myself just as a thank you for everything we'd ever done. Another great thing about big people, they always lift others up. So he took Phil Sr. and I to the Scottish and the British Open. And while we're there, of course, he had his new agent that I was very supportive of, Rocky Hambrick out of Dallas, had already orchestrated a plan to get Coach to join the team. That was July 11th when he finally said, "Coach, I don't care what it takes. You gotta be part of this." And I came home and resigned the ASU job with lots of difficult emotional time because I knew we had another national championship team coming up right behind him, which I did. I never look back to this day that I didn't make the right decision. It's been a wonderful journey. We've had many other great players come through the door as part of our team now, and I've just been very blessed because of the people we associate. Well, and AJ, I've held on most importantly to the tagline coach because I always felt more of a teacher and a mentor than I did as an agent taking advantage of people. And I emphasize that every day. I like to coach our business as a family because that's what makes great teams. And hopefully we've held on to that legacy, and I respect what coaches do every day. Many of them could be great CEOs in major companies around the world on any given moment because they've had the discipline and the work ethics and the way that they can motivate people to be better than what they think they are. And so that has always been my foundation and will be until they put me in that prime box. Wow, that put me on the spot there. I just got to say, I love life. And I hope everybody, even in tough times as we've had, and we continue to have with this virus, appreciate the life that we've been given and the blessings we continue to achieve and honor. I just think that that's very important at a time when things are tough. I'm really proud to say that everything we can do for our kids, because they are everything we leave behind, is critical to the mass. And if we can all help others be better than they think they are, you'll be a great coach. And I kind of like coaches.